My name is Tim. I've been in design for the last 19 years. I started in visual design and transitioned into UX design and research, really problem solving for business.
So Tim, for a person who is completely not aware about the UX field, if you had to give him or her an idea what UX field mean, what would you say?
I think the question that you're trying to ask is, how would I explain what user experience is to my mom? And what I tell her is it is problem solving with the user at the center and identifying what the problem really is that you're trying to solve and the best method to walk an individual through a process, through a change, through an experience, whether that be digital or whether that be in person. That's really what user experience is to me and how I explain it to them. So how user experience comes to life as a profession is through user research, through interface design, through application design, through digital things that you're putting onto the screen and arranging in a method that is meaningful, delivers business value. I think that's a huge part of it, is simple for the user. And then on the other side of that is the testing, right? Like, were we effective in what we were trying to accomplish? Is this better than this? How can we continue to iterate and improve on what has been created? So if you want to figure out if the UX field is right for you, I think there's a couple avenues to understand. There's the research side of it, there's the UI, like interface side of it, and then there's the true just problem solving side of it. And if you gravitate towards one, there's all kinds of resources to learn about them, and you can make up projects yourself to see, is this something that I'm interested in and I can be passionate about? Thinking about the advice I would give students just getting out of college, trying to get into the user experience field, I've got a couple ideas. I think the first one is you got to get exposure. And however you get that exposure is really up to you. But the exposure means you are introduced to an environment where it's actually happening. User experience and usability and whatever aspects of UX that you're trying to get into is actually being practiced. You can do that and you can get paid as an intern, or you can do that and you can track people down and say, I just want to come watch you. I want to see how you work. I want to understand this field. You know, you don't want to do an unpaid internship for too long, but you've got to weigh that value. Are you getting what you're going to need so you can say, hey, I can put this in my resume because I understand this, and when they ask me questions about it, I'm going to give them meaningful answers. The second thing I would suggest is you're going to create your work in class or in boot camps. And you need to get that feedback. And when creatives create things, we get really attached to it. And you got to let that go. Because if you're asking for feedback, don't push back. Don't make excuses for why you did something. You can explain, perhaps, but don't make excuses. Just say thank you. That's all you have to say for feedback. You say thank you. Portfolios. A portfolio out of college is going to be limited. You know, it's explainable, it's excusable. The more you have in there is great, but don't fill it up with just a bunch of finished products that you think look cool or finished pieces that are 100% polished. What a hiring manager in UX wants to see is, what was your process? How did you get from here to there? What was the problem you were solving? And show your sketches, show your iterations. The end product, yeah, that's super important, and you got to show that it was effective, and perhaps even go further into showing how it was tested and how it moved the mark or met the goal that you were trying to achieve. When you're in an internship, you got to be the person that people want to work with. You know, you got to smile, you got to show up, you got to put the effort in. That doesn't mean you're working late nights every night, but that does mean you're willing to put work in, and it's called work because it's not easy. Another thing is, you don't want to come out appearing like you're a know-it-all. You really got to be open to learning, continuing to learn, and not jumping to solutions immediately. I think that is one of the things that I've seen in individuals. They feel like because you're creative, you're coming up with great ideas and you have the solution before you really understand the problem. So understanding that problem is really key, especially when you are trying to prove your value, right? You feel like you get there by sharing your ideas. And sometimes you can say a lot more with the questions that you're asking as opposed to the ideas that you're projecting.
Perfect.